Okay, Vision 1.3.6 quick overview. All right, so we're going to start at just the empty chart, and we'll go ahead and add Vision to your chart. In my case, I'm going to unhide it. The first thing you'll notice is a welcome banner. Welcome to Vision. Please click the gear icon to access the settings before I generate signals. If you are new to Vision, visit this URL to learn more. So that is a quick start guide that we're put together for this release. And it's something that we've had the videos on, but a good visual for people that don't want to go through a video can follow this. And this gives you an end-to-end setup guide on how to access the charts on TradingView, get your settings configured for your chart, get Vision running, the whole 9 yards. So it's a good end-to-end guide. So if you're new, go ahead and go through that and then come back to this video. All right, so let's jump back over to the chart, and we'll go ahead and hover over Vision and go to the settings. All right, the first thing, we have this tick box. We want to remind everybody to use smart trade management. All right, always have a plan in place and practice proper risk management. So go ahead and check that box. And then the next setting you see is trading experience, and this box has 3 options. You have beginner, intermediate, and classic vision. Beginner and intermediate are the new modes. Classic vision is vision as you know it today. All right. So with classic vision, you have the sensitivity and risk settings just as you do already, and you can configure those. There's nothing different about them. And then below we have the signal start date settings that we also have today. So we did add the start hour and start minute. That's so we can fine tune the drill down. And what these settings do, if you don't know, is it defines how far back in time Vision starts plotting signals. So let's say you're swing trading and you're on the 4-hour chart and you want to get into some movement, but 30 minutes ago before you sat down, a signal had already generated. Well, you can drill down just beyond that signal and Vision will start looking for the next suggested entry. All right, so that's what that's for. Beyond that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start on the first trading experience beginner. We'll go ahead and hit OK. And we'll notice now that we have a banner. Please change your time frame to 30 minutes or higher. You're on the beginner trading experience. And again, this is something that we recommend for beginners. Everyone that gets into trading, they always want to go to the 1-minute chart because they see things happening faster and there's just a lot of noise. So if you know what you're doing, it's great. You're advanced, go for it. You can scalp it all day long. But if you're a beginner, you need to get on a higher time frame. That's going to save you from risky positions that you should never get into that looked like something big but ended up being nothing. So to change your time frame, go up to the top, and I'm going to go ahead and jump on the hour time frame, 1 hour. And now we also have please turn off extended hours trading, extended hours by clicking the EXT in the bottom right of this chart. It's another thing, extended hours, it can be tricky, and not everybody should be playing in extended hours. And so if we're going to guide beginners, that's another thing we want to do, is we want to disable extended hours. So go ahead and untick that. All right, and now we have signals. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of scroll back to get a wider view here. Okay, so before we get into the signals, I'm sure the first question is, what's the difference between intermediate and beginner? So intermediate will allow you to trade with the extended hours mode turned on and allow you to drop down to a 5-minute time frame. I'm sure the next question would be, is there going to be an advanced mode? Yes, there is, and we will continue working on that. We wanted to first get this in everybody's hands. As number 1, we feel like it's a good improvement with a lot of benefits, and number 2, that'll help us collect more data, fix things, iron things out, get everything working to its absolute potential. And advanced mode will come in, we'll remove those time frame limitations and all. And classic vision we'll try to keep it as a part of the options for as long as the community wants. We are hitting the limits with TradingView's platform, so if the only reason I could see us cutting it would be is if there's just no room for it with what we're doing. But other than that, we understand that some people like things the way they are and they want to have that option, so we're going to leave it in there. So yeah, let's go on to the signals. So we'll start with the most obvious, the buy signal. So the buy signal, the difference between now and this update. So when I say now, I mean Vision 1.3.5, which is the current version at the time that I'm recording this. Is we did change from long and short to buy and sell. So now it says buy instead of long. Same rules apply. In most cases, you'll want to make sure that if you're setting alerts and following the signal, that you're waiting until that signal is locked in, which is on bar close. So if you're not aware, I'll go ahead and explain it. But we have what's called flashing. We have a video on that. But if say we're on the current bar right here, that bar is open, so all the real-time data coming in is processing on that bar. Everything behind it has closed. That data is locked in, right? So we're getting real-time data. We're calculating on that real-time data. So let's say that we're on the 1 hour candle at 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes in, it's going our direction, and we get a buy signal. All right. That does not mean that buy signal is going to be a definite buy. The reason I say that is the following 30 minutes of that candle could completely dump and go the other direction. All right, and if it crosses back below that threshold that we're looking for in the predictions, then that signal is going to go away. And that's what we call flashing. So you can use it as an early indication if you want to try to get in early, which I'll admit I do, but it is risky and it will burn you at times. But if you do that, you want to make sure that you are charting and looking at other factors to ensure yourself that it is going to go in the direction that you need. All right. Otherwise, it is safest to use the buy signal when it's locked in at bar close, which means the current bar has closed. We're on a new bar, and that buy signal is there on that previous candle. Same for the alert setup. You want to make sure that it's on bar close. All right. That's just the safest route. The difference in that we'll explain with the momentum buy, which if you're not familiar with, that's where you do not apply that strategy. Okay, so the buy signal, straightforward. It's an entry position, prediction, suggestion, and you want to make sure that it's locked in. Otherwise, if you're going to get in early, use charting, look at everything. All right, now I'm rambling. Okay, going on to the sell signal. Same thing. It was a short, now it's a sell. Same rules apply. It can reverse, so you want to make sure it's locked in. One difference with the sell signals versus classic vision is you'll notice that the sell signals come in later in most cases than what classic vision pitches up a short/sell. The reason behind that is that there's more confirmation for the sell signals to actually be positions now. So that's why it's coming in later. And what we'll do to offset that is you can leverage the take profit, which we'll get to in a minute. All right, so there's differences with the sell signals. Then we have the momentum buy, which is also something that already existed. Momentum buy, it picks up on the momentum, and I say it already existed, but it didn't. It was only on certain securities. It wasn't a wide range of support for it. But now we should see it on everything where there is a momentum section. All right. So momentum buy is when there's a burst of momentum in one direction, and that's the case that you want to get in as soon as possible, because you don't know if that momentum is going to die off at the end of that 1 hour candle or whichever candle you're on, or shortly after. So you never want to alert a momentum signal that you want to get in on bar close, because there's a good chance that you're late. So we can see the one here clearly, it skyrocketed, so that was fine to get in on bar close. But there's a lot of cases where a momentum signal might last a bar or two, so you got to look for a quick in, quick out strategy. Okay. Now we have Momo Cells, which momentum cells, the reverse momentum buy. This is something new. We did not have these in the current classic vision. All right. Same thing. You never want to alert it on bar close. You'll be late. You want to get in as soon as possible. And this is kind of a good example here. So if you were to get in on this position when it first alerted, you would have been, early on in the bar. But if you waited until close, you're down here. You're looking at a lot less profit pulled out of that position before it flags take profit. Okay. So honest dots are something else that have already existed, but to a certain level. So honest dots, they seem to be consistent below the $30 range. They really need to optimize, and we started working on this before we finished rolling out honest dots. So they were only on the long position side, and they were a little bit limited. So now they're fully rolled out. You'll see them on the buy side and the sell side, and there's also support for Forex, which counts it by pips. So we'll go ahead and explain that. So honest dots appear after a position. So we have a buy here as an example, and the purple dots start showing when you're hitting that 5% profit range since the last signal. Okay. Orange dots will show when you're hitting 10% profit since that last signal. And then we have these aqua colored dots that will start hitting at 20% profit since the last signal. And then the last one we have is lime green, which will start hitting at 25% or higher since the last signal. All right, and then the same thing applies on the sell side. You see down here we have some appearing here. We were hitting 5% profit since that last position signal. Okay, and the color scheme, same. All right, Forex, it counts in pips. So the purple is the 5 pip mark, the orange is 10 pips, the aqua is 20 pips, and lime green is 25 or higher. All right, and it works on the yen pairs as well. Okay, so now let's get into the take profit. Okay, take profit is, in my opinion, probably the best thing about this update. So one of the biggest thing, before I explain this, the biggest difference between Vision today and this new update is it tries to, and it does a pretty good job at knowing when it can ride a position out and take more. Okay, but of course, there's always risk. So if there's a point along that ride where we're seeing this is a potential reversal happening, so we're going to go ahead and suggest, and you're in profit if you got in on this last signal, we're going to go ahead and suggest that you take profit. And you'll see take profit often more than once between signals. So as for example, you can see right here we had two options here. We had to take profit here, and we had another one up at the peak. This one nailed it perfectly. So you don't have to close your entire position. I mean, you don't even have to follow it. It's up to you. You push the buttons. But I've learned just off testing this, which yes, I have been testing it with demo accounts and even a live account because I trust this update. I take profit, on the first one at least, a good chunk of my initial investment, and then I might ride it out to the second one. Okay. And of course it sucks. Like, so if you're over here and you took profit here and you just got completely out, you see now it skyrockets more. You could have had more, but again, at least you ended in green. Don't ever look back, because you can't change the past. All right. The other option you have is you could completely ignore it. So right here, you could completely ignore this small run, and then you ended up waiting, and now you're in a position where you should be in a sell position, and it signals that. And by the time you exit, you've lost out or broke even. So take profit is powerful, and definitely leverage it. It's hard to build that discipline, but do your best to just work on that and utilize those signals. So take profit is my personal favorite of this new update. All right, next we have the reversal risk. So reversal risk, you can kind of play kind of like the flags on the current Vision in a way, but it's also kind of detecting where we're predicting that there is a reversal ahead to kind of give you a heads up. All right, and that'll usually flag if, say, you just entered a position and it's predicting a reversal and you're currently at a loss, more than likely, when that signal flags. So right here, it was predicting it. It did teeter up a little bit, but then it did indeed reverse, and it reversed hard. That's where I got in the sell signal. So right here, I would have taken a loss and then waited and got in on this momentum signal to ride down. And then right here, I would have taken profit. Okay, so that's the reversal risk. So the last thing we have actually it's not, we have two more, is the indecision. And this is just kind of a general detection area that you'll see right here. And if things are consolidating or there's indecision in the market, it'll kind of flag that as a caution of, be careful. So if you're looking at getting in a trade and you're seeing the indecision, you might want to wait until there's a confident signal that you should get in. I usually look at bullish candles or bearish candles depending on which direction I'm going. But just take note of that. That's just kind of a warning to kind of help you out along the way before you get in an entry. All right. And then there is a hold suggestion, which it's hard to find. I would have to, find a timestamp and go straight to it, but I won't do that in this video. And we're still working on the hold as well. But there's moments where it might pop up and tell you hold. Where it's sensing, it looks like things could be going down, but it's predicting it's just a pullback. It may tell you to hold, and if you want to take that suggestion, it's up to you. It oftentimes is right, but it can be wrong. Like I said, nothing's 100%. But that's the last thing as far as the signals go on this update. With that, let's go ahead and roll over into the alerts. Okay, so alerts. So to get to the alert setup, the easiest way is to hover over Vision, hit the three dots at the end, and then the top option, Add Alert. This will bring up your alerts dialog. You always want to make sure that the condition is set to Vision. You can set it to just the typical chart candles or whatever else you have on the chart. But by default, if you do it the method I just showed you, it should have Vision as the default option. Then we have the condition options below. So these are all the options to set up alerts. So as you can see, we have any alert function call, which we'll go over in a minute. That's something new, and that's something that we wanted to address in this update. And thankfully, TradingView pushed it out just less than 48 hours ago, so we were able to utilize that to exactly how we wanted. We have the buy signal, sell signal, momentum buy, momentum sell, take profit, reversal risk, the buy signal on Classic Vision, sell signal on Classic Vision, risk warning on Classic Vision, that's a new one, we'll go over that, and the momentum signal on Classic Vision. All right, so any alert. So we wanted an option for the free TradingView accounts. Everyone that has used it long enough know that you're limited to one alert. So we were working on programming in any signal that would just fire off on any signal on the chart. That way everybody could just set up one alert and not have to upgrade their account if they're just trading during market hours or trading Forex or crypto, and they have no need for the extra data packages or the extra alerts. So the only issue that we had was that you could not, in the any alert signal, the way TradingView was prior to 48 hours ago, is you could not specifically set what the signal was in the alert message. So you could basically just pop up an alert and the user would have to get to the chart and process things themselves. So now with this function, we can actually control what's in the signal message, so the alert message. So if you have a momentum buy signal, for example, and you have an any alert set up, the second that momentum buy hits, you'll get a message, depending on whether you have notify on app, show pop-up, etc. And that message content will say Vision momentum buy. All right. Same thing for all of them. So now that any signal message will give you exactly what the signal is for you, so you don't have to go to the chart to see it. So if it's something that you don't care about, so if it's a reversal risk and you're like, I'm going to ride through it, I already checked things out for myself, you can ignore it. One thing to note is you'll notice when I select this option, I don't have the traditional options to set the alert frequency, and that's because it's signaling any alert. So the frequency is set in the code, and since we're doing any, we have there's a lot of cases where people want to know the second that signal pops. So it may not necessarily be like, oh, I only want my buy signals on bar close. So we have to notify users the second it appears. So even if it's a flash on the buy, using this you're going to get an alert that there's a vision buy signal. And then that'll be up to you if you're wanting to wait till bar close to just prepare yourself, wait and see if it locks in, and then get into your position. All right, so straightforward. It'll signal all the alerts, and that's based on the trading experience you're on. So if you're on beginner or intermediate trading experience, it's going to signal any of the alerts 1 through 6, okay? And if you're on classic vision, it's going to signal any of the alerts on 7 through 10. All right. And as far as the rest of the alert setup, there's TradingView has some guides on that. So if you want to go into specifics about these, they're pretty straightforward. You can, when you're setting, like, let's say we're on the sell signal now. If I only wanted that to alert once, the first time sell signal shows, I would do that, which I personally don't ever use. You do once per bar, where you only get it once per that entire bar. And then once per bar close, that's when the signal is locked in. So that's one that I would use most common. And then once per minute, if you want to just be bugged to try to get you to the chart so you can make a move. So I use these two the most. All right. Anything that I want to get in, like if I want to get in early, so momentum signal, I'm always 1 per minute. Buy and sell signals, once per bar close. And then take profit, I want to annoy myself, once per minute. Reversal risk, I'll usually do per close as well. All right, and then you have your expiration time, which that'll vary based on your TradingView account. If you're on the free account, I don't know if you have access to that. And then your alert actions, so notify on app and she'll pop up as the most popular. You can also do other things. The auto trading bot guys will utilize webhook URL. You can play a sound, send an email to SMS, and you can name the alert, and then you have the message content. So this is pre-generated content that we put in, so we actually put in these variables. So for like the sell signal, the sell alerts, when I get that, it'll automatically populate the symbol that the alert is on and then the price. So we automatically put that in. You can change that to whatever you want. But we automatically put that in. So you can control that message on all the alerts if you want. The only thing you can't do is on any alert. As you can see, you can just choose how it gets to you. The rest of that is locked in.